He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall, and I guess you just rhyme with Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome back for more Bat Minute Forever, the show that cracks open all of the wonderful scenes of Joel Schumacher's masterpiece. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And, oh no, I'm still the co-host. I'm Niall McGowan.
I say that to myself every week. Oh no, Niall's still the co-host.
This is we wake up every morning just thinking like, oh crap, we still have it.
Him again.
That whole show. Oh, we still have to do it. Now we made a commitment. There's no way we could just walk away and just not bother doing it.
Until the day we die, we are here. And we are proud.
Yes,
apparently.
Of course.
Yes. And we are joined once more by our wonderful, very special, super excellent guest. We have actor and musician Bryarly Bishop.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Hello. Thank you for putting up with me being a croaky mess all week. Yes, this is minute 9. The minute starts with manic laughter, and it ends with the most creative use of a hearing aid in the history of man.
Yeah, not just for hearing anymore, apparently.
Oh, no.
Although actually just used again for hearing, technically, but...
Sort of. In a way that I'm going to question. But we are back here with the chopper in the air as Two-Face cackles. Surely Batman is doomed.
Oh, I have to say, though, people who know me will know that I just love a campy supervillain, like friggin' Defoe's Green Goblin in Spider-Man 1, where he's just, all this, we'll meet again, Spider-Man. That's the Tommy Lee Jones. Again, I've said it in previous weeks, this is not an accurate representation of what Two-Face, the character, is supposed to be like, but no. I love him in this helicopter, this whole sequence, this in the next, 2 weeks, is just like, mwah. I just love how over the top he's going.
It's a shame he dials it back later in the film.
But it's just like all the, even the delivery of all the, when we open that safe, we'll have everything we ever wanted. Glorious flood of chaos, and you, my boy, dead. It's like, dial it down a bit though, Tommy, but don't. Keep going. Go bigger. I don't know, Bryarly, as an actress yourself, have you ever been in the position, if you were to be playing a supervillain, would you want to be going like, I'm gonna go for it and just go this big?
Yeah. For my own, I mean, it depends. Like, if it's an actual supervillain, hell yeah. Like, I would try to still be real, but I would try to just dial it up to 11 on everything. So like anything, I don't know. I think it would be difficult to resist being in a comic book movie and not being a comic book villain.
Like I've seen Joker now.
Oh, what did you think?
I quite liked it. I quite liked it as a film, and it's like Joaquin Phoenix is really going for it, like in terms of like internalized. He is acting. Like, he's acting the ass off this thing. But even at the end, when he's got the makeup on and stuff, you can't help but do a little bit of camp, like, I'm a crazy supervillain kind of acting.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like, I feel like it's almost, like, disrespectful if you don't. I don't, maybe that's silly. But just, like, because of where it comes from. Like, it's this, like, I don't know. It would feel inappropriate to the genre to me to not be a little, like... I mean, I would try to, like, be real in general because I like acting that way, and I think it's how you should do it. And I think that it makes everything stronger. Like, I think it makes the comedy stronger. I think it makes the drama stronger.
Yeah.
But you also need to, like, know where, like, what you're playing. Like, if it's very different to be, like, a stage villain than it is to be, like, a suspense villain than it is to be, like, do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Although I do like that, like, if you just went off that, then, like, you had a role of, like, oh, you're playing, like, a like a shopkeeper, but it's just like, oh yeah, she's supposed to be kind of an asshole, and then you just play her with like a right, yes,
like
that will be $25.95.
Yeah, like I wouldn't do that. But if they were like, hey, we've decided that we're gonna do, you know, in Spider-Man where they had a Lady Doc Ock in one of the Spider-Verses?
Oh, yeah.
If they were like, we would need you to be Lady Doc Ock, you better believe I'd pull in a cackle. Like, something.
You've got to.
You'd have to.
That's all the fun.
You have to.
Well, even everyone's, favorite realistic superhero movie, The Dark Knight. I mean, the Joker, he's still.
Can we talk about the
comedy.
voice as well? Swear to me. Like, nobody's being completely realistic.
Oh yeah.
No, exactly.
I think I remember like hearing like from the set of The Dark Knight, the first time Christian Bale and Heath Ledger were working together. Apparently, it was during that interrogation scene, and apparently both of them were just laughing between takes because they're just like, "Look at how ridiculous this is, though." Like you're sitting in all the clown makeup, I'm sitting in this big ridiculous bat suit. Like this is a funny situation, but we're having to treat it like dead seriously and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like when you make it really real, like it's funnier. You know,
kind of returning to what you were saying in the previous minute, John. Because now I have to get into like, Two-Face does have his whole everything he'd ever wanted, like above Fair Gotham, a glorious flood of chaos, and of course you, my boy, dead. And then we get the excellent delivery of, oh no, it's boiling acid.
Right, and I get the impression they made this boiling acid later. Because it just sort of looks like water and there's some red lights.
Also, does acid boil? Quick question.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, that's another good question.
That's a thing I've actually looked into. Because I was just so like, why would you? It's acid. Why would you need to boil it? Like, what's the point of that? And apparently,
well, I think he just means it like burns.
It already burns.
Yeah, that's what. But like, so I was kind of thinking like, well, and Two-Face does note that like it's for his dying pleasure. This is the very acid that made us the men we are today. Which again was another line cut from the video release. I don't know why, but it was. But it was noted because this has been, the subject to internet chatter, this boiling acid line, because how does he know it's boiling already? He just sees acid come out.
Yeah, they've put that in the script later anyway. I don't think he even knows it's acid. Look at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like acid.
This man's a chemist in his downtime.
And it doesn't go with his mouth movements. They've ADR'd that in. I think they've put that in later.
But he does have, apparently the acid is, people have theorized as most likely sulfuric acid, which was apparently supposed to be the acid that was used on Harvey Dent. And that boils at 648 degrees.
Jesus Christ, so they'd already be like unconscious then just from the heat.
Yeah, so I think people have tried to justify, like, well, why is it boiling acid? It would be like, well, the amount of heat it would create within the safe, if you don't get Batman through melting him with the acid, because he's got some kind of prepared, maybe he's got an oxygen tank, because, initially you'd have the fumes of the acid would get him.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe he has a breathing apparatus, but then, maybe he has an acid-proof suit on or something like that. But they're saying, like, well, the thing is, the heat, at 648 degrees to boil the acid, the heat inside would, like, broil him alive, at least anyway. Or at least make him to pass out and then fall into the acid.
I never thought it was boiling, literally. It's a phrase, though, isn't it? It's boiling acid. Like
that's not. You say that
burns.
as though it's a phrase we've all heard all our lives.
Yeah,
like,
I have never heard the phrase boiling acid outside this movie.
Yeah,
I have a million times.
What do you mean a million times? What life are you leading?
Anytime acid is ever mentioned.
It's gonna be one of those things now. Like throughout the rest of like the week, I'm gonna hear people constantly referring to boiling acid. Like, what the hell? This was never a thing before. What's going on?
Yeah, you say it because it burns. Like a boiling liquid burns.
No. But on top of that, though, because it comes out of the safety deposit boxes, seemingly on little hoses or something. So, what Two-Face has had to do, presumably in the time since he broke out of Arkham Asylum at the beginning of the movie, which is a deleted scene, in case you don't know, Bryarly, that originally opened with Two-Face breaking out of Arkham Asylum. So, presumably it's been like a couple of days or whatever. He would have had to rig a safe that will close like by remote control and lock itself, and he also has to have it rigged with apparatus that will spray boiling acid within the actual like vicinity or within the actual chasm of the safe or whatever.
So he's definitely got somebody on the outside, is what you're saying.
He must have he like this is supposed to be the second anniversary since Batman locked him up, but it could have been like he's been planning this since the first anniversary because he's like, oh man, I need to move around a lot of stuff to make this whole vault thing happen because it's just a pain in the ass. He's like, because then you have to go into like, how much acid is in there? Would you have to line the walls of the safe with like the liquid, or is it just within those safety deposit boxes? There's just like gallon jugs.
Maybe it's it's a chemical reaction, like it's not acid already.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it hits a coating inside the safe.
Right.
And even that's more like you have to get someone to maybe line the floors with whatever the coating is to make it acid, or. But it seems like it's a lot of like the thing is because this all is inherently like it's trying to be as comic booky and as sort of 1960s Batman as you can get, really, because it's like, well, this whole plan makes no sense of like, how did he know he's going to go into this vault to get the guy, then how you'd have to shut the door shut, and then you'd have to have the safe rigged up to have acid inside it, which is just like insane. Well, the fair Two-Face is insane, so maybe he could have done it, but it seems like this would take millions of dollars. Well, maybe not millions, but thousands of dollars worth of planning. And you'd have...
Ooh, well, maybe that's why he's stealing the money, because you discover in this minute his plan does involve actually robbing the cash, which I found odd because he doesn't seem like a crook who's after that. So maybe that's why.
That is weird, because I think it would have to be that he's assuming that whatever asset he's got, the safety deposit boxes with the other money, with the actual money inside them, will keep the money safe. And then the rest of his plan is that he's going to open the safe and then dump the acid on Gotham, which is the thing is that he could. I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe he's like ripping off the Joker's ideas, like all the money's going to come out as well with the acid. It'll be like the Joker throwing the money into the crowd and stuff again. Only like instead of playing Prince, he's got like I am a lineman for the county blaring out of the helicopter as he's drifting past or something, but. I don't know what what music Two-Face listens to. But yeah, it just seems like, and then presumably like it's gonna, the acid will scar the citizens and whatnot. And if you're going by comic book logic, could potentially turn the crowd into Two-Faces or something, because that's established now. I remember watching a couple months back, but like they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Batman movie came out, like an animated thing. And they had a whole thing where like the Shredder falls into the chemicals that made the Joker, and he becomes Joker Shredder. And it's like
it's like just an automatic, like this is how this affects people.
Apparently, yeah. I think they've done that in the comics with Harley Quinn. It's like he puts her in the chemicals, she becomes Harley Quinn. It's like, why would you keep making these chemicals if anyone who comes into contact with them? It wasn't so much like this particular guy in this particular time happened to go into them, and he became this crazy person. It's like, no, if anybody touches them, you'll become the Joker. And they do have in the recently released Batman vs. Two-Face, the 60s show revival, animated revival, with Adam West as Adam West's last role, where William Shatner played Two-Face, and did a surprisingly excellent job.
I could see that, honestly.
Yeah, I think the mentality at the time was that we're going to cast someone, because at that point Two-Face was like, he wasn't in the comics and stuff because of he was too gruesome, so like they're in a real like make it kiddie friendly. So in the 60s show they're like, oh, Two-Face is too much, we won't touch that character. But they tried to think of like, oh, who would have played him in the 60s had we done it then? And they're like, oh, William Shatner would have been the celebrity guest that week. In that version, Harvey Dent gets scarred by Hugo Strange has a machine that takes the evil out of the other villains, and it becomes like a...
Because that's a thing you can identify scientifically. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it becomes a gas, and then the machine blows up, and it sprays half of Harvey Dent, so he becomes half evil.
Sure.
And then he goes around spraying the city at the end, and everyone in Gotham becomes like Two-Faces and stuff. It's great. I highly recommend people watch that if they can. But for some reason, it just made me think of this. This is the fact that he's going to dump the acid on people. And maybe even in Joel Schumacher's mind of like, oh yes, and everyone would become Two-Faces, because that's the way it works in these kind of universes.
Even though the clear implication is that what's happened to him has mentally scarred him. Rather than, oh yeah, he just turned into an evil villain because of chemicals.
It was entirely just that acid. And that, the manila folder can only do so much, John,
God bless the manila folder.
Protect half of your face so you could protect your mind. I mean, gotta choose.
I don't leave the house without a manila folder in my bag.
Yeah. Well, also note, in terms of those, talking about, like, because this version of Two-Face is full-on crazy. Like, he never modulates his performance. But, again, in the Bachelor draft, they did have allusions to the fact that he was switched back and forth between Harvey Dent and Two-Face. And they had a little bit of dialogue at the start of this scene where, as they're coming up, with the safe and stuff. Oh, look, actually, the whole safe thing doesn't happen in that script. It's just, like, as Batman's, kind of coming towards them, one of the thugs is just like, oh, wait, what do we do now, Two-Face? And Harvey Dent says, well, the tasteful thing would be to surrender peacefully. And then Two-Face flips the coin and goes like, no, the bat dies! And he flips back and forth. But Tommy Lee Jones didn't get that note. I think his version of Two-Face was like, I was watching, like, Dick Dastardly the other night, and, that guy from Penelope Pit Stop, like the hooded claw or whatever, that's Two-Face, right? That's the same exact character. I'll just play it like that. So he's just like, when are they going to attach my mustache that I can twirl? Like, I'm waiting for it any day, Joel.
Oh my God, that would be wonderful.
Oh, they've done it with Billy D. Williams. They should have had him keep the tash, and then the other one's like a purple mustache that curls up at the end that he can literally twirl and stuff. That would have been phenomenal.
I can't get over it now. I'm just picturing that. I can't move on.
I know, I'm doing the same thing.
But of course, like, the rest of the wind is the vault is now vertical, and Batman and the guard are, the guard's complaining away constantly, as is his wont.
Yeah. Don't let go.
Such an NPC. Can I say, like, this feels like a quest a little bit.
Oh, totally.
God. It's an escort mission.
Yes, it's an escort mission. Ugh.
Nobody likes those. Come on.
God, that's what's happening here. Oh, the acid! Help me!
And Batman borrows his hearing aid. We're about to discover why, but he does it again. He's like, "Hey, that's my hearing aid."
Is that fair? Is that a good idea for us? I mean, like, equal opportunity and all, but that seems like something you'd need that sense as a security guard.
You'd think so, unless this gives him super hearing.
Oh yeah, I guess like an earpiece or something. Okay.
Yeah. It also seems like we mentioned it in the previous weeks, but I think the guy they've got playing the part, like, he doesn't look like the way they've described him in the script. Like, he looks like a kind of youngish guy. Like, there's a guy who's like, what, 36, 37 or something?
Yeah, he looks normal, like, I don't know, average man age.
Just a guy you would see out, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, the way, like, Two-Face is telling me, like, oh, in your case, beer and pizza, and the fact he's got a hearing aid and stuff, like, I'm thinking they were looking to cast, like, M. Emmett Walsh or something, like an old man who's a bit heavy and looks like he could be, like, a crotchety, like, useless security guard. Yeah, but then they got this guy. But, like, and apparently I think I always heard, and I can't find the information again now, but I remember reading years ago that Wayne Knight from, Seinfeld, like Newman from Seinfeld and Jurassic Park and stuff, that he was offered this part and turned it down.
Oh, that'd be great.
Probably taking acting tips from Val Kilmer, where he's like, I don't understand this part. I don't care what the paycheck is. I'm walking away.
Again, I respect that. If you don't feel it, walk away.
But yeah, I do like that, though, as a note for Batman. Like, just yanking the guy's hearing aid off. That's a Batman move. Because, if it was Superman or someone would be like, oh, excuse me, you mind if I borrow this, sir? Yeah. But, like, Batman would be like, just give me that. And then, like, hey, that's my hearing aid. Just like, oh, thanks. Like, really kind of, like, having no time for him, but just giving him the most cursory of answers. Mm-hmm. Is totally within the Dark Knight's purview. I will say, but, Bryarly, having watched the movie now, what do you think of Val Kilmer's portrayal of Batman? Like, if you've seen Michael Keaton now and Christian Bale and Ben Affleck and all that, do you agree with any of the choices he made?
Have I seen Ben Affleck as Batman?
I don't know. Have you seen Ben Affleck as Batman? That's a good question.
I'm not sure I have. I think I'm working with Kilmer, Keaton, and the new one.
For a second there, I thought you said I'm working with Ben Affleck. I'll ask him. Like, oh my god.
No, gosh, wouldn't that be great? No, I'm like, no, I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. As you might recall, I wasn't super impressed with Michael Keaton's Batman. I found him to be entirely unintimidating out of the bat suit. Whereas like I don't know. I mean I'm torn.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Like there are things he does feel more like a Batman kind of, but there's just something about him that reads like a bully to me no matter what he does. So it's I don't know. It's like hard for me to like I don't love Christian Bale as Batman, but he's better than Michael Keaton and like Kilmer. Just I don't know. I don't know. I'm mixed.
He's grown on me over the years. I used to just think he was completely wooden and a stick of wood, you know.
But like
some scenes he really knocks it out the park.
I mean, just visually, it's like he seems more like a Batman, not as a like
Batman. As I bring this up all the time, Batman's all about the lips, and he's got the lips.
Yeah, that's fair. Like Michael Keaton, I was just like, "You're Billy Joel. What are you doing? Get out of here." He does have the jaw. You're right.
One thing I do have to ask now, because I'm becoming curious, is that like in our first season we had a whole thing about like Jack Nicholson, and like I always perceived Jack Nicholson. It's like, oh, everyone thinks Jack Nicholson's like a really sexy, you know, not dreamboat, but he's like a sexy character. I was so shocked
when you said that.
Yeah, that was the reaction from quite a few other people. And then I was shocked in season 2 when I found out that people actually were into Chris Walken. Mm-hmm. But now I've been floored this season to find out like apparently back in the day, Chris O'Donnell was like regarded by young women and men as being like, oh, he is a dreamboat. Like he is like
O'Donnell?
Chris O'Donnell. So like you as a woman in your mid 20s in 2019, if you look at Chris O'Donnell in this movie, would you be like, oh, he's so dreamy, or would you just be like my reaction, which is just like he is a man. I will give him. He is a very vanilla looking person.
Hey, every single person back when this came out loved him.
I mean
that's a more appropriate response to the one that was contemporary.
I feel like I should have watched it more recently, like because I'm like I don't remember having like a strong reaction, and I typically will recall.
I mean, I could understand Val Kilmer. Because Val Kilmer,
yeah.
But he also then, again, knowing his reputation, is like, oh, he has a kind of dangerous side too.
Where it's like that,
I know between the two of them, Val Kilmer is not hotter.
What?
I will say that.
Oh, I think he is here.
I mean, I'm pulling up some pictures. I'm like, I gotta back myself up here. Yeah,
it's got to be 90s for both of them though, not modern.
Yeah. 95, right?
This is oh my god. Because Chris O'Donnell to me is just like, oh yeah, if I had to describe him in a police lineup, I couldn't tell you a single feature of his face beyond the
generic white guy.
Yeah, beyond the earring he has in this. It's like he has an earring in it, and then it's like yes, eyes are eyes, and his hair is kind of short and brown, and like it's just not the Val Kilmer I could describe to you. It's like, oh yeah,
Chris O'Donnell's the 90s version of Jai Courtney then, or Sam Worthington.
I will say he has more charisma than either of those two men.
Yes, much more. More.
I remember his performance in this at least, whereas those two guys I could not. Although Jai Courtney against Suicide Squad actually did kind of pull a performance out of the bag, but
bizarrely, that's the one time he's good.
Yeah, I was pleased to see. There's like, oh, apparently he's in Suicide Squad too. It's like, oh, good for him. He managed to make the cut.
Yeah,
so
fine.
All right, I'm still doing some research here. I definitely don't think that Val Kilmer is hotter.
Oh my god, this is just.
He was a heartthrob.
Sorry, this is not for. I've always found his jaw unenjoyable. But
unenjoyable. That's a good way of putting it.
Chris O'Donnell is cute. Like
See, you've fallen for it.
He's an attractive man. Between the two,
maybe this is how it worked. Everyone was going like, this movie came out and you were presented with these two guys, and the world had to go like, well, I guess out of the two, Chris O'Donnell, and then he just kind of gotten people. He's like,
there is this whole like mouth thing.
No, Val's got the mouth.
No. I mean, there's like this like nail. Like I'm in my googling that like the time to die, Little Robin. Like that's pretty hot. That whole finger on the chin thing. Like he's got some bedroom eyes there. I see it. He's hot.
I'm still getting over like some of Bryarly's exes though have been told the reason they're getting dumped, and it's like, your chin is unenjoyable. Like, what? What kind of reason
No,
is that?
I would never. No, I would never say that. I think it's just he just looks uncomfortable, like always. Like Val Kilmer just looks like he's just I don't know. He just seems like there's a bully vibe to him. I just.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, apparently that is true. That he does have he was a bully on a lot of sets. So.
I don't want to hear this. I love him so much in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, especially. Once we move on from Rick Ole here saying about the hearing aid, Batman places it to his ear and then to the safe door. He's going to crack it.
Oh, Batman!
So, see, I get the theory behind this, so I assume it would work. Purely from movie logic and whatnot. So I researched it. I was like, will this work in real life? I actually couldn't find any proof of it being done. But I did look up a National Geographic video, which I'll post in the group, seeing if it could be done with a stethoscope. So kind of similar. So they got an expert in who's like cracked safes for the Queen and things. Because she's got these, 200-year-old safes or something that they can't open. They haven't got the key.
The Queen had become a bank robber at some point. It's like, well, one won't do it themselves, so I have to.
Yeah, she's in the new Ocean's 11 movie.
I was thinking she just lost the key somewhere and was like, we don't have more than one.
No, they don't.
Why
So they got
would
this
we?
guy in, Johnny. They got this guy in, Johnny Phillips, to give it a go.
Oh, I was really hoping his name. He's gonna have a much dodgier name. Like, got in Johnny Safe Crack, and he
Johnny Tight Lips.
Johnny Crackers.
Johnny Crackers.
That's
Because he's
pretty
crazy
good.
and he also cracks safes.
Johnny Dangerously.
Hey, bringing it back.
Now, it's something he'd never done before with a stethoscope. He normally has like fancier equipment and things, but he does it. It takes him 2.5 hours, but he does it. So presumably, I mean, a stethoscope's probably a bit more advanced than using a hearing aid,
Yeah,
but
100%.
you could maybe do it.
That's not what a
Yeah.
hearing aid is used for, right?
No, but you can amp them up, can't you? You can
Yeah.
turn them really crazy loud.
This is the fact that it might take him 2.5
I'm not a
hours. So
safecracker.
Batman,
I don't know. Yeah, right.
like Batman's like, I'm gonna need some time,
Give
so
me a
you have to be quiet. Like
Batman does it in like 10 seconds.
the guy, like he's there for 2.5 hours, and the guy's constantly like, it's been an hour and a half. It's like, I know, Jesus Christ.
The acid's getting ever so slightly higher all the time. It's just like-
Two-Face didn't realize how long this takes. It's like, oh yeah, we've only got like 5 liters in there. This is gonna take a while.
It runs out when it gets halfway. He's like, well, I don't know. I guess I just hope they'll fall in or something.
I guess maybe I could just open it and hope that maybe they fall out. But
His goons are in the
Yeah.
back like, boss, we haven't eaten in like 12 hours. Jimmy's gonna pass out.
Shut up. We'll get takeout. It's fine.
I'll get drive-through.
Oh,
I think it was Two-Face driving that freaking Black Hawk helicopter over to the drive-thru.
Ugh.
Yes, 2 Whoppers, please. Oh no, Whopper's Burger King. I forgot it's a McDonald's film. So
yes. How dare you cross the branding?
oh dear Lord. We'll also note as well. Just my final note for this minute is that there's a cute line that's in the novelization, which I think kind of works, but also kind of doesn't. Where the guard says to Batman, like, "Oh, why is he trying to kill you?" Even though it's blatantly obvious, because he's Batman. But Batman says, like, "I was his friend," and then the guard goes, "Do all your friends try to kill you?" And Batman responds with, like, "Only the ones who get to know me," which I thought, it's like, that's kind of cute, but it's more of like a Catwoman line. Like, I can imagine Catwoman saying that, and a bit
I
like
can hear
that
that.
rings true.
It also just makes me sad for Batman.
Yeah. It's like Alfred absolutely hates him. It's just like, he's the only other person who knows me, and he hates my guts.
Alfred's tried to kill me 6 times. Why do you think I'm so stealthy?
It's real life because everyone wants to kill Val Kilmer.
Oh, that's just an improvised line. It's not actually in the script at all.
Yeah. That's him bearing his soul to this other actor.
That's what it
He said,
is.
will you be my friend?
Godfather. But that is my last note for this minute. Do either of you guys have any more notes that you want to bring up about this minute in particular? Or okay.
No. All done. So
Yeah.
we
I
will
also-
depart once more. Oh,
I don't know, just ask as well though, because Bryarly, you have here now. You have the
Yes,
floor.
hello.
You as like final words on Batman Forever, because you didn't get into any of the Jim Carrey stuff or
I
the-
didn't. Are you guys going to bring me back for that? How much forever do we have?
Oh no, I think we're you're more than welcome to come back, but unfortunately it'll have to be next season because.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
But if you want to send in an audio clip of your opinions on Jim Carrey, we can slot it in.
I just was like, what did like? Cause I'm not too sure what age you are, Bradley, but like, because I was like 8 when this came out, so like this was like the biggest thing in my life when in 1995. Because like it's Batman, holy. But I don't know what your experience of it as a cultural entity was, if you were even born at the time.
I definitely did not have a strong cultural experience from Batman at that time. I'm not sure I have strong memories from 1995. Sorry.
No problem. But like, do you like from watching it now in order? Do you like the direction the franchise is heading in terms of this lighter, somewhat campier tone?
Because you're getting more of it.
I'm a little trash baby, and I like camp movies. Like as I mentioned, I love The Evil Dead. The movie John Dies at the End is also one of my favorites. So here's the thing. I love campy movies because they are very fun, but I do think that I don't take them as seriously as others, which maybe I should, because like it's hard to do camp well. As I'm sure you guys are aware, it is very easy for it to slip into like, this just isn't very good.
Oh God, yes.
And yeah, so I like campy, but I think it's difficult to do well.
Oh. But like overall, would you rate this as a good movie or a bad movie? Or would you ever wish to visit Batman Forever again in your lifetime?
I think I would enjoy watching someone else watch it.
Okay.
Ooh, I love doing that, to be fair. That's one of my favorite hobbies.
I think, yeah, like it's visually very fun, and it doesn't ask a lot of you. And I think that would be, like, it would be fun to put on, like, in the background of a party, but I don't know that I would sit down and watch it.
That's fair enough. Of course, you're more than welcome to come back next season for Batman and Robin. I'm assuming you know Batman and Robin's reputation, at least, so I'll be very curious to hear.
I know nothing.
Really?
Really, really, truly.
Well, I don't know whether to leave you in the dark, but
tell me.
Batman and Robin is regarded quite widely as one of the worst films ever made. It's
fantastic.
It goes in where this film's starting in terms of silliness. It goes there hard. Like, it is ridiculous as a film.
It amps this up 5 times more.
Like, all that stuff about Bruce Wayne's tortured psychology in this movie and stuff, none of that in the next one. It's full on Arnold Schwarzenegger cracking ice puns.
How's the nipple situation on the bat suit? That's what I would like to know.
Oh, it's still there.
Okay.
As long as that's there, we're all happy.
All right.
But of course, thanks for coming on this season. Of course, you're more than welcome to come back for that next year. So,
thank you for having me. Sorry to invite myself. I realize I've jumped the gun.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, at this point, if you've been in the 3 seasons of the show we've done, it's kind of assumed that you'd want to be on the 4th one anyway, so...
It's like, no, I'm out now.
Nice, but no worries. I'll just pull a Kilmer and walk off.
No. Now, that would be hilarious if you did do it. I wouldn't blame you.
We have to replace Bryarly Bishop with another LA-based singer-songwriter actress.
There are quite a few. I'm sure you would find one. I don't think there are many who do voiceover and camera the way that I do. At least that don't look like me, as far as I know. I hope.
Find like this other one, like Bryarly Bishop, just comes on.
Yeah, right.
Get him on the line, Niall. We might need to.
It's just me.
Bryarly...
I just have 30 different versions of myself to try and get hired.
Well, I hope
Bryarly's
not, because we might have to hire them, because you might not survive the coin toss. But first, if you do survive, would you like to tell people where they can talk to you online, presuming you are alive?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter or Instagram at Bryarly Bishop. You can also find my website, bryarly.com. I have a short film, Ubo, coming out in next spring, hopefully. It's about, I play a Jewish woman who is getting revenge against the Nazi who killed her family. And you can also listen to me as Gerat Domingat in Black Desert Online.
Very, very cool. Check it out, everybody. And come and talk to us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. Check out our Instagram as well, The Bat Minute. We have a website, thebatminute.com. And leave us a review on iTunes. That's very, very helpful for us. It bumps us up the rankings there. And we've been very big in very random countries' rankings.
Oh.
Well, we were number one in like Bahrain or somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Which was very peculiar.
That was just like,
Cool.
how do you concentrate on the Bahrain market? Like, much like Hollywood's doing with like, oh, we need to get in the Chinese market. We need to like, not, I don't want to say pander to them, but yeah, kind of pander to them. Like, we need to hook the Bahrain. Like, if we're big there already. Let's just make it Bah Minute or
Make it
whatever.
Bahrain.
Yes. Hell yeah. I'm going to make it Bahrain with coins now.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be
Two-Face is
heads.
trying to make it Bahrain with acid and money.
Ooh.
And this scheme is very suspect to me, I must say.
It's going to be heads for death. You'll be cast into the acid, or tails, we will set you free to live once more. But if you live, you have to keep coming back, you see. This is the problem.
Yes,
so on
yes,
Monday,
yes,
you'll be back
understood.
again.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Heads!
Oh no! It's boiling acid! No! Next time, holy dope on a rope, Batman. Our intrepid paladin has been rendered perilously pendulous in an acidically saturated money bin by Gotham's partitioned prosecutor of sin. Can some audio-aided safe-cracking spare the city's savior from the sting of corrosive enzymes in the nick of time? Keep an ear out for the next episode. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.